Hey Pascal, this is Panther Nation. I'm Connor Hibbett.
And I'm Gage Laswell.
And we have a lot of breaking news to get through today, but we'll start off. I'm going to give you the schedule for today. We'll hit Pascal football first, Pascal volleyball next, then we'll get our college football picks. We'll actually do college football picks last, and then we'll do NFL before college football picks because we have some breaking news for NFL. Positive stuff even after the Cowboys lost.
Yeah.
All right, Pascal football, they didn't look great against Martin, but Martin's Martin.
They played Martin's good. Martin's really good.
It's like, when you lose a game, it's like no excuses. Well, there is one excuse out there. If the other team contains the name Martin, there's an excuse.
That is very true. That's
Yeah, I heard it was a tough game, but again, we are improving, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
I think there's a great chance we could beat Sam Houston.
Yeah.
Homecoming game.
Woo!
I want, wouldn't that be awesome if our first win's on homecoming? That'd be perfect.
I know, right?
Improvement will show it, but I think this is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Sam Houston's not one of the better teams in the district, so this should be a great matchup, and I think Pascal has a great chance of winning.
No, I have hope for this team.
Yeah, and we have a lot of young players.
They do, yeah.
So that's a great positive.
Even though, they're starting out young, and then they're growing more mature over the years.
Yep. And the volleyball team is pretty young too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's decently young, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Volleyball did great a couple nights ago. I mean, they're looking great. I mean they lost to some pretty good teams here lately, but you have to remember, right now, they're 5-5 in district, but if they win against North Crowley tomorrow night at home, then if they if they win against North Crowley on Friday night, then they could have a chance for playoffs.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, and that's the most important thing, to get to playoffs and then get better from there, and then obviously try winning it all.
Yeah. Well, last year we had a really good turnout. Our volleyball team was good. We made it to the playoffs, but we couldn't hold on to our
4 games remaining. Yeah. If we can just win those last 4 games, that would be great.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
We're 23-13 overall. That's a great record.
That's really good.
So finish 27-13.
Yeah.
That'd be great, and then make it to playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, a huge win if we could beat North Crowley. That'd be huge. That could really determine some playoff spots there.
Yeah.
Moving on to the NFL, Gage, what do you have for us with the NFL?
Well, I just got this breaking news that the court clears Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game ban, which is going to be really good because even though he was playing, he's now
probably take some of the pressure.
Officially, it's going to take a lot of pressure off. And and the Giants don't look very good because they lost their star wide receiver Odell Beckham with an ankle injury that.
It didn't look pretty. I watched the play that it happened.
No. He was on the ground. I bet he was crying. I saw a video of him leaving.
Oh, leaving the field. Yeah,
leaving the field with his jersey over his face, because he was mad, and boy, I can tell you he was not happy. So,
and I know Cowboy fans are not happy after that disappointing loss to Green Bay. They had a big lead and they kind of blew it, but that's not Cowboy football. Usually they finish off the games very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cowboys this year have not looked as impressive as they did last year, but last year we struggled against the Giants, and now we're just struggling overall to pick up a good win, a good win overall, but we haven't really had a great win yet. We beat Arizona 28-17, but we haven't had that complete win where it's like you can say the offensive line played great, the defense played great. There's been no part to our game that's been even consistent. Against Denver, that disappointing loss.
Yeah.
There's been nothing that's been consistent.
Yeah. So let's talk about another sport here. The NBA.
Oh yeah, NBA is coming up.
Their preseason rankings are out currently. Dallas Mavericks are doing pretty well this year. They're number 3 in the Western Conference. Their record is 3-1, and there are some pretty good players on that team. Like our newest rookie, Dennis Smith Jr. He can fly. Let me tell you, he's only 6'3", and he can jump. Let me tell you that.
What do you think the Mavericks' chance is in the Western Conference this year?
Well, For right now, it looks pretty good. Oh, wait, I take that back. They're 4th. My bad. They're behind Portland. Sorry for that. Yeah, I think we're looking really good.
We're looking better, obviously.
Yeah, looking better after that rebuilding season last year.
What do you think? Do you think Golden State's going to repeat this year or not?
Maybe. I really don't know, honestly. They might come back and win it all, but as of right now, they're not looking too good. In preseason, they're 1-2.
And that's preseason. I don't pay attention to preseason games because, they're not really playing their starters the whole game. Guys aren't really trying because, the last thing you want to know or hear about or see is that maybe like one of your star players gets hurt in a preseason game. That's so bad, really, and that's on the coaches if that stuff happens. But I get that, people are like, hey, they're 1-2 so far. It's preseason, but they're 1-2.
Yeah,
It can show some depth, affection of their depth.
Yeah, and with this coming season, there's going to be new players on different teams, like Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward for the Celtics, and they were traded for let's see, they were traded for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and crap, I forgot who the other one was. He was a center or power forward,
but we get the gist of what you're saying.
And then. The Cavaliers also got Derrick Rose from the New York Knicks. And here's something. D Wade's reunited with LeBron. They got D Wade from Chicago.
Hey, and the season starts October 17th.
Yeah.
Who do you have winning each conference or each division?
Each division or conference?
Each conference.
Each conference.
We'll get the big picture there.
To be honest, it's going to be a tie with because the better conference is obviously the Western Conference. I'm not going to lie about that. But I think the Clippers, the Warriors, the Spurs, Oklahoma. I think Dallas is going to probably
make a run for it. Yeah.
And the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Those are probably the best or better teams in the Western Conference.
Man, the Rockets are going. I hear they're going to try to shoot for the stars. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to shoot for the stars.
Yeah. And then for the Eastern Conference, I'm going to have to go with Boston, Washington, and the Cavs. So, I forgot.
And the Cavs certainly don't play like babies. They actually play like full-grown cows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the second one. Oh, okay, well, anyways. Hey, Major League Baseball, did you hear that the Yankees beat out the Indians?
Really?
Yeah, the Indians are out. I can't believe it. And I'm going to admit, I was not jumping on the bandwagon, but Cleveland's actually my third favorite team after the Rangers and the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
They're my third favorite team, and they lost out. But in baseball right now, Yankees and Houston Astros play each other in the American League Championship Series. The Yankees are actually trying to win their 28th World Series, by far the most World Series wins by far compared to any other Major League Baseball team. The second most World Series wins are by the St. Louis Cardinals with 11. The Astros are trying to win their first World Series. In the National League Championship Series, the winner of the Chicago Cubs and Washington Nationals Thursday night will play the Los Angeles Dodgers to see who will represent the National League in the World Series. Yeah. All championship and World Series games are the best of 7. And so, I think, unfortunately, I think the Yankees have a chance to win it all this year, but I think Houston is going to win it all this year. I mean, Houston has been your most consistent team the whole season.
Well, here's someone. I think the Dodgers might have a chance.
Yeah, and I think the Washington Nationals will lose. If you remember me saying earlier, I don't think the Washington Nationals are.
Yeah. I mean, they get so close, but they never make it.
I mean, look how bad the division is.
Let's see what is.
I mean, look at that. I mean, there's no one above 500 in their division besides them.
That is true, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think the Dodgers might win it all. Not just because they have the best record in the MLB, but I think they have a talent on their team. Yeah. I mean, they had the only player that I heard of was traded was Yu Darvish from the Rangers. I don't know. He seemed pretty well, or he fit in pretty well in LA.
And I asked you earlier who I was asking you who you thought would win each conference for NBA basketball. But I'm gonna give all of you guys my picks on who I think is gonna win each conference in college football in 3 weeks from now. I will give you guys my picks in 3 weeks for that. The NHL season just got underway. The Dallas Stars right now they're 1-2. The Pittsburgh Penguins are trying to win its 3rd consecutive Stanley Cup. That's insane. And fun fact, guys, both the NBA and NHL have 82 games for the regular season. In case you guys did not know that, they both play the same amount of games, and they both basically have the same amount of time, like the months that the season contains.
I'm pretty sure we have a new NHL team, the Vegas Golden Knights.
I wouldn't know that. I don't keep up with the NHL, but apparently that's right. I have never heard of them before until right now.
Which actually they're doing really well. They're undefeated right now, 3-0, and they're
first team to go undefeated in the first 10 games. Was the first season ever by this team.
Yeah, no, they're first in the Pacific Division, which is really good for them which is a very emotional.
Hey, they're number 1 in defense apparently right now too.
Their first game was very emotional because this was.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, because this was coming off of the horrific Vegas shooting. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, fortunately, they made up for the shooting with their own shooting for goals.
Yes. They wanted. Let me tell you, they wanted to win. So
exactly. I'm glad they won. I'm glad they played with their heart too, not just.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. They dug down deep for that win. Well, congratulations to them.
Let's give them a round of applause right here.
Yeah. Let's give them a round of applause. You know who else we should be giving a round of applause?
Who?
Gary Patterson.
Oh,
Coach of the year. If TCU makes the playoffs, do you think Gary Patterson has the best chance of winning Coach of the Year?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's always won. I don't know how many times he's won Coach of the Year. He's won a bunch.
He has won some, yeah. He's won a handful, but I think Gary Patterson's been one of the more impressive coaches so far this season. But I think Mike Leach for Washington State also deserves that honor. I mean, he's been having a very consistent team this year. Washington State has looked impressive every single game except for one, but they're undefeated, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And Mike Leach has his own opinions about things. I like the guy. He reminds me of Nick Saban. He puts down the media, but in a cool, calm way, and he keeps his team focused, which is really important. And they're number 8 in the nation right now, and they're undefeated. And I mean, they're 6-0.
Yeah.
I mean, this team could actually win the Pac-12 this year, but we'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
This Washington State team has only played one road game so far, so they're going to have lots of road games from this point on. So we'll see what happens. What do you think of the top 4 teams right now in college football?
Teams?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they chose right. Georgia's really good. Penn State's really good. I mean, coming off a really good season last year. They're slowly but progressively. And then Clemson, I'd actually see Clemson as number 1, to be honest.
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely have looked like the more impressive team considering their strength of schedule and what they've done. I mean, they haven't really had you could argue the Auburn game was close, but otherwise, I mean, they've still dominated every opponent they played. While Alabama, they've dominated too, right? But they always dominate, but they're not dominating like they usually do.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts improved a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah.
There's still lots of room for improvement, but let's face it, he's a run-first quarterback, a pass-second quarterback. He's still doing a good job managing the offense.
And let me tell you who gave Alabama's run for its money. Texas A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M only lost by 8 points, but I mean they scored at the very end just to make it that close of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, but they played with a lot of heart. But as Nick Saban said in his press conference after the game, he said that he knew that A&M was going to be putting up a fight. And, I mean, but A&M still really lost by a couple touchdowns. They made it close in the scoreboard at the end of the game. But it's kind of funny how we compare Alabama to the rest of the teams. It's like, Alabama only won by a touchdown. It's like they're not as good. And the fact is they're still winning.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, who do you think could beat Alabama?
Honestly,
well, Clemson. I mean, they probably could.
Yes. I mean,
besides Clemson, though, we've seen it already once.
I think Georgia might have a chance of winning against
And
Alabama.
they're probably facing each other in the SEC championship game this year, which, by the way, guys, is played in Atlanta, Georgia. So Georgia would have the home field advantage. I mean, although the ticket sales would go evenly for both, but I guarantee you more Georgia fans would show than Alabama. Not by a lot, but a little bit more. Enough for Georgia to win. Plus, imagine Georgia, right? I mean, Kirby Smart, Georgia's head coach is a former Alabama defensive coordinator. There'd be a lot of hype in that game, and I think Georgia would have a little bit more fire in them.
I mean,
and it's like Alabama's like, oh, we know we're the best, and yet I know Nick Saban has his team ready every single week. But that's like one game where you could say, I think the other team is just as talented as Alabama is and can compete.
The reason why I think Nick Saban is a really good coach because he knows their team is the best. But he doesn't act like your team is the best.
Right. And he makes sure his other players are focused and not distracted by ranking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
He knows they can lose to any team.
Right. Any team can pull off an upset. I mean, when you hear about, like, let's say you have a Podunk University and you had their schedule, right? They face all these average teams, and then you have this one game against number 2 or number 1 ranked Alabama, right? They highlight that game. They want to beat them. And yet you still have number 1 Alabama every single year the last several years. They know that everyone wants to pull off that upset. I mean, we heard Vanderbilt talking up a big storm. What was the result in that game? 59-0. Alabama, they are not going to get upset. The games they're going to lose are against good teams like last year in the national championship game. It takes something like that just to beat them. Or have a close game.
See, the reason that I think Alabama's so good is because they're balanced. Like one, I would say.
I know what you're trying to say. Each team, like there's that one team that's inconsistent. They're so consistent and balanced. I mean, both sides of their ball can play. The defense is so consistent. The offense is consistent.
Each team has its own strengths and weaknesses. I mean, TCU's pretty balanced, but their defense needs just a little bit more of work because West Virginia ran it right up their defense. And they honestly
didn't have an answer for it.
They didn't have an answer.
I think TCU is a very scrappy team on defense, no doubt. And you're not going to see the TCU defense give up 600 yards and 40 points, but this year you're hoping to see a little bit more from what you expected against West Virginia. I expected a better performance from TCU.
We're not the biggest team.
Right. But you're still scrappy. But I get it. Like, with the cleverness of Gary Patterson, you thought they'd be more prepared for the game. Exactly. I agree. I mean, but you know what? Will Grier and that West Virginia offense are very explosive. They have a very good ground game and a very good passing game. So it's hard to stop both sides of the ball. And it showed in the game. I mean, West Virginia ran the ball up throats, as Gage said. It's true. And then they passed all day that one guy of theirs, and they couldn't stop it. It was play action, and it, like you said earlier, you guys couldn't sack him. You couldn't tackle him.
We couldn't.
You couldn't tackle Will Grier. It was amazing. I saw a couple plays, but I mean, you guys got the most important stand at the end of the game, the fourth down stand.
Yeah, we did.
But right now, where do you think TCU stands compared to the rest of the group?
I mean, TCU is fine where he is. Like I don't want them. Well, I mean, I tell you, I want them to go higher.
Yeah, but you don't want it like this soon.
But no. But where they're at is it's fine. I mean, with an undefeated record, we're currently number one in the Big 12
after Oklahoma's losses. That was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, I was watching that game on my phone, and I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I remember talking to my friends the week before. I'm like, I don't think that Iowa State game is going to be real close. Not at least in the second half.
And then where I was sitting, I was sitting with a bunch of TCU and West Virginia fans. They were all looking at your phone, and this one girl said, "Hey, did you know that Oklahoma lost?" And then West Virginia fans, TCU fans, they were high-fiving each other because they knew Oklahoma was the team to beat in the Big 12.
Yeah, definitely. And then now it's TCU.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me. You guys go to play K-State this coming week or this weekend, and K-State's one of those teams that every single year that they give opponents a run for their money. It worries me. It does. Now, I will say this, is that you guys are favored by 6 points at K-State.
Yeah.
And I don't like to look at lines to determine what I think. but it does help me understand the magnitude of the game and how much you guys are favored to win this game. And I think it helps me knowing that you guys are at least favored by 6 points, and it gives me more confidence with TCU's chances in this game. And I think TCU's chances are pretty good in this game. I think you guys will win by a touchdown or two, but I think K-State will worry you guys a little bit. I mean, they are so smart. I mean, their coach is so good. He always has those guys ready to play.
The old guy.
Yeah. But he's so good. I mean, he always has consistency. I mean, you look at this team year in and year out. They're 8-4 and 9-3. I mean, and they don't even get the 4-star recruits. I mean, their coach just knows so well how to coach. He knows the game so well, and he always. I mean, K-State's always at the top of the list for penalties per game. Like, they never get flagged. Yeah. You look at this team week in and week out; they'll have 2 to 3 penalties. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch good, fundamental, sound football, and I think that's what you're going to be seeing. So if TCU wants to win this game, they're really going to need to eliminate the mistakes.
They
because they are much more talented than K-State is.
Yeah.
And if you guys just play your game, run the ball,
you
guys should not have a problem.
I mean, to be honest, I think Kenny Hill was under pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like last year we came off a loss against West Virginia.
Yeah.
And so all that pressure of wanting to win just got the best of him, and he didn't play very well.
Yeah, he still needs. I mean, look, TCU's still a run first, pass second team.
They are.
I think they tried a little bit too much passing in the game, and then they went to the running game, and they went back to that end around swing pass back to Kenny Hill. You guys used to do that with Trevon Boykin and Doxson, and you guys went back to TCU football, and you guys got up to a good lead, and then your defense didn't play up to the magnitude like it should have, and the result was a close game.
Yeah.
But again, you guys won. That's the most important thing. But at K-State, that's what worries me. Plus, a really early game. You guys are playing at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, and I don't – it doesn't help. That doesn't help. But what about OU and UT this weekend?
Oh, the classic
rivalry. And that's a pick 'em game. We're going to get into the pick 'em games now. So OU, UT.
OU, UT. One really good team, one okay team. To be honest, I think OU is going to win this one.
I agree. I think that they're going to really want to win bad after that loss.
They do, yeah. They want revenge after that.
Definitely.
After that emotional loss.
And the last team that they want to lose to, besides Iowa State, the last game that they want to lose again is to UT of all teams.
Yeah.
Especially UT.
I mean, Texas is slowly, as we said, basically average slow. They're slowly progressing.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they get all the good recruits, but they're just not a good team. Like, they have talent, but they don't really use it as well as some of the other teams.
And I think that's what they're trying to figure out. I think they're trying to figure out who they are. I think they're trying to figure out who they are on defense, who their players are, their team captains, their team leaders, and that's where we've seen Texas lack. I mean, it used to be, they used to have those great players back in 2005, including Vince Young, and then that running back who played for the Kansas City Chiefs forever. And, you look at those guys, it's like they had so many team leaders. And look how many All-Americans they had. They had like 5 on both sides of the ball that year. And since then, I mean, they had McCoy. And they've had a few players since then, but it's nothing like right. I mean, the last 3 years. Have you heard a Texas name besides their running back last year? Have you seen a player for Texas that's been dominant? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to find that one team leader.
Yeah.
And this year they have that. One of their linebackers is really good this year, and he can fly to the football. But I don't think that OU has a team leader on defense.
No.
And that's where I think OU lacks is on defense.
Yeah. And then sure they're really good on offense. They have Baker Mayfield.
And their head coach is an offensive coordinator, basically.
Yeah,
Lincoln Riley. So
he knows offense, but he doesn't know
he doesn't know the defense as much, and so it's showing. I think OU wins the game in a tight game, 28-21.
Yeah. To be honest, I think Texas football is more individually based instead of a team based. Like, don't get me wrong, like you know how to play as a team, but like players want to be the best.
Yeah,
and that kind of gets in the way of being a team.
Yeah, And I think this Texas team needs to find some more team leaders. I think that's what they're really lacking in right now. I think their coach is good. I think Tom Herman's really good. But I think they need to find who they really are. I think they need to find who they are. I don't think they haven't found like their secret recipe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Tom Herman is setting out to bring back the old 2005 Texas football base.
And, like with LSU, it's defense and power running, and Stanford, same thing. Stanford's a lot about smart play. Wisconsin's about offensive line, moving the pile, moving that dusting pile for 4 yards of play and keeping the ball in their offensive hands and not relying so much on the defense. Time possession, Georgia Tech is the triple option. Yeah. Navy's the triple option. I will get into Navy later. But I think Texas just needs to find who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they haven't found it yet. I think they're getting better. They're obviously improving from last year.
Yeah.
This team is a dark horse contender, but I don't think they'll be able to beat Oklahoma in this game. Now, if Oklahoma hadn't lost to Iowa State, Texas' chances just increased by it just shot up.
Okay, so let's talk about Texas's past coach, Charlie Strong. USF.
I knew that team was going to be good this year.
Let me tell you, that's his school.
Yeah,
that is his school. I mean, they're 5-0 right now. Number 18 in the nation.
And like I said earlier, watch for this team to climb up in the polls. Yeah. I don't think this team's going to lose more than one game this year.
Yeah,
if they even lose. And this team's probably going to make it to a New York 6 game. New Year's 6 game. So, yeah, but we'll see what South Florida does. But again, my prediction is probably 11-1 to even 12-0. This team will probably finish number 8, something like that. Number 8.
They're not.
Washington State right now. That's where they'll finish.
They're really good, but they're not a big school, or like they're not big enough.
Like a big name school?
Yeah, big name school to go up and maybe the
totally
top 4.
Agree. Exactly.
Just like how that 2014 when we were number 3.
Oh yeah, and then dropped to number 6.
Number 6
or number 6. Yep. And you guys played number 9, Ole Miss.
And then we
destroyed them.
And
remember, you guys were winning 41-0, and they decided they decided to kick the field goal just to get points on the board, and then the whole TCU crowd was booing. But
and then that year, Florida State replaced us, and Florida State didn't look all that good in that Rose Bowl game, to be honest.
Against Oregon.
That was when
Jameis
Ohio
Winston
State won it all.
Yep, and they beat Alabama in that credible Sugar Bowl game. Yeah, but I remember Jameis Winston throwing the ball backwards. I think he forgot who he was throwing to.
that cracked me up. That was. I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Florida State's a good team, but who do you think should have been in that number 4 spot or number 3 spot?
I think TCU deserved it. They definitely were one of the better teams in the country that year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it still killed them the way they lost to Baylor.
Yeah, I mean,
it killed them. I'm not gonna lie. If they had won that game, we got a lot of ifs and buts throughout the season. But if they had won that game, they would have made the playoff.
Yeah.
And was Ohio State deserving of it? I mean, let's get this straight. They had one loss all season. Virginia Tech at home that year.
Yeah.
And it was by 2 touchdowns, but they improved throughout the season. And let's face it, Ohio State won it all that year. So, I mean, you look back, it's like, well, they didn't make the mistake picking Ohio State in there. But would have TCU won it all? Maybe.
Yes.
I mean, they could have had a chance. I'm not going to lie.
They could have a chance. They may haven't won their game, but it would be a good game nonetheless.
Yeah. And let's face it, they creamed an Ole Miss team who beat Alabama that year.
With that one play, that one special, what was that? Are you
talking about the Alabama Ole Miss game that year?
The defender bobbled it.
Oh yeah, so he actually caught it in the back of the end zone. They overturned the call. It was incomplete at first, but they overturned the call. That's right. Yeah, they ended up winning the game 23-17. But so I have OU beating UT this year. Back to this year, we got OU winning 28-21. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it safe and call it in the 20s, something like that. UCLA at Arizona. Fun fact: UCLA won one road game last year.
Did they really?
17-14 against BYU. and they didn't win any other road games. And this year they are 0-2 on the road. Mm-hmm. So I look for this Arizona team who's averaging about 319.5 yards per game on the ground alone to just destroy that UCLA defensive line, who A&M had no trouble with running the ball. This UCLA defense gives up about 284.5 yards per game on the ground. Mm-hmm. I think Arizona controls the clock, and I think they glide to a win, 42-35 at home.
Is Florida State not ranked?
No, Florida State's not ranked. They're 1-3 this year.
What?
After that loss to Miami, and of course to NC State, and then Alabama. But no one blames them for that loss. So I got Arizona beating UCLA at home, 42-35. How about Texas Tech this year?
Let me tell you, I was watching the Tech and Oklahoma game. That was actually a pretty entertaining.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
That
was a pretty entertaining game to watch.
It was. I was kind of like biting my nails, but I remember saying to myself, "You said this game was going to be close, Connor. Have confidence in Oklahoma State."
Yeah.
And they pulled it out.
Yeah.
I was real happy. But this Texas Tech team, their defense has improved this year. It's not lights out, but it's improved.
I mean, and look at the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
number 24 in the nation.
That's what you deserve when you're balanced on both sides of the ball, like we were talking about earlier.
Let's think some Navy.
Oh, undefeated. Yeah, I'm about
now.
to get to them. Mm-hmm. Their picking game this week against Memphis. Texas Tech against West Virginia. They're at West Virginia. Tech does not do as well on the road. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to keep it close, but I say West Virginia wins in a great game, 31-28.
Is West Virginia not ranked either? Or are they? I don't see them on the ranks.
No,
they're not.
Well, how about that? But West Virginia, they're not ranked. They're 3-2 overall this year.
After that loss to TCU, congrats.
Yeah,
to them.
But you know what? If they win this game, they're probably going to climb up right back to number 20 something, 20 something.
And then,
because Tech's ranked. And
Tech's ranked.
Yeah, but Tech's had some good wins this year. They beat Houston, and they almost beat Oklahoma State, and that's almost a win for Tech in that situation. But I think West Virginia's going to get the job done at home. I think Tech's going to want a little bit of revenge off of what happened last year. They lost them 48-17. I think.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, it was that bad. They West Virginia actually shut down Patrick Mahomes last year. I couldn't believe it. No one shuts down that guy. Mm-hmm. But I think West Virginia comes away with a last-second field goal, 31-28. Last-second field goal. At home, 31-28. I say the Tech defense plays good the whole game until the fourth quarter. Yeah. I say Will Grier finds his open targets, and I say he gets it going in the fourth quarter. They roll along. I think Tech's going to be winning throughout this game until the very end.
I mean, as you said, Tech is not a very good road team.
Yeah, they're not. Mm-hmm.
But I think West Virginia will pull this out. I mean, they're playing at West Virginia.
Yeah,
West Virginia.
They're going to want to win after the disappointing loss to TCU.
West Virginia can get loud.
Yeah, they can.
They can. They are crazy. So, speaking, I think
West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Anyways, but that crowd can really get into the game. And I think they're gonna keep I think they're gonna keep Tech from beating them. I think the crowd's gonna have the most effect in the game.
Yeah,
I say Tech has a 2-touchdown lead, or maybe a 2-touchdown lead at halftime, 21-7. Mm-hmm. I think this Tech defense is going to surprise West Virginia.
Yeah.
I think they're going to force a couple turnovers in the first half, and then I think West Virginia gets it done in the second half, and I think they dominate throughout the fourth quarter, and I think they get that last second field goal.
Agreed.
And I think this West Virginia defense plays better in the second half. I'm not impressed with Tech's offense this year compared to years in the past, but still good. Auburn and LSU. LSU is improving slowly, but still not enough to beat Auburn.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm pretty sure this is a rebuilding season for them.
It is. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. They have a lot of young players.
That's why.
It's the first year in a long time that we haven't had a field loaded with juniors who are about to go pro. So
is Auburn playing at LSU?
They are playing at LSU, and they're favored by 7. And I think they're going to win by 7. I think they're going to win 24-17. I think LSU will keep it close. I think Auburn will LSU will get a late touchdown. Though I'm going to say this. I think at halftime it will be tied. And I think throughout the third quarter, it's going to be 3-and-outs for both teams. Yeah. And I think in the fourth quarter, Auburn scores 2 touchdowns. And then I think LSU gets a very, very late touchdown.
Yes.
And they just make it close in the scoreboard. But I think LSU plays their hearts out, and I think they improve. And I think this creates some adversity in Baton Rouge, but I think this also creates some positive thinking in Baton Rouge to where they can say, hey, we've improved. We came from a loss against Troy, arguably by a lot more than really what the score showed, and then coming close to beating Auburn, who's one of the hotter teams in college football this year, right now. Oregon at Stanford. Oregon's not looking that impressive this year. I think Stanford comes away with a win, no problem.
Yeah.
So I think, to overview what I've said so far, OU wins against UT 28-21. Arizona beats UCLA 42-35. West Virginia beats Texas Tech on a last-second field goal 31-28. Auburn beats LSU in dramatic fashion, kind of 24-17. Oregon at Stanford. I think Stanford's going to keep on rolling. I say Stanford wins 42-28. I think TCU struggles at K-State, but I think TCU pulls it out. I say TCU wins 27-21. Yeah, we've already talked about that game. And then how about Navy against Memphis? Memphis is giving up almost 300 yards per game on the ground.
Yeah, I think Navy's going to come into Memphis, no problem. They're going to beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-0.
They're 5-0, but lots of their wins have not been impressive this year. That's the only negative thing I have to say about them. But I just know that the Memphis defense can't keep opponents off the field, and I think the Navy offense will control the tempo, and I think they'll get the win. Though Memphis can put up some points, and I think they will, but I think you're looking at a similar game with Arizona and UCLA. I think both, in this case, I think the road team wins. I think Navy will pull off the upset, whatever you want to call it, because Memphis is favored by 3.5 points. I think Navy wins 38-35.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
I think they get a chip shot field goal throughout the game, and I think that's enough for them. And I think Navy will maintain a 10-point lead, and then Memphis just puts up a touchdown to keep it at 3, and then Navy puts it back at 10, and then it's kind of a back-and-forth game. Yeah. Utah at USC, I think USC is going to want – I think they're going to want a good stretch for wins, and I think Utah's kind of I think they're confused who they are. They just lost at home to USC, which was a huge upset. I think USC is going to want to win this game. I think USC wins by a few touchdowns.
Yeah.
No problem. 42-21.
Yeah.
Boise State at San Diego State. Hey, San Diego State's undefeated right now. How about that? 6-0.
Yeah, they are.
How about that? What do you think of San Diego State this year?
It's actually very surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I wouldn't.
They surprised me.
Like I wouldn't see a Mountain West team in the rankings, although TCU was in it one time when they were in it.
Yeah. And then Boise State's another team that's usually at the top in that conference. Yeah. And this should be a challenging game for San Diego State against Boise State.
Yeah, but San Diego State's actually looking pretty.
They are.
Yeah,
Did you almost say solid?
I didn't.
You didn't.
You're welcome.
Boise State lost to Virginia, who looks better this year, actually, by a few touchdowns. I think San Diego State is the better team. And I think Boise State will come out, they'll start on fire. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to be up by 2 touchdowns, no problem, start the game. I think San Diego State comes back, and they win in dramatic fashion. I think they win 35-31. I think San Diego State's defense starts out really bad. And I think the San Diego State offense can't get anything going with their good running back, Penny. I don't think they'll get much going to start the game off. The Boise State run defense is actually legit this year. But I think the San Diego State play-action game to the tight end, I think that will kind of get them rolling. And I think they win throughout the course of the game, and I think they'll score a late touchdown. 35-31, San Diego State wins in dramatic fashion. It's going to be a late game, and I think you guys will be up for another few hours because of it. I think it'll be a great game. And then the only game this week that won't be close besides maybe USC and Utah, Ohio State and Nebraska. Nebraska's just not that good this year, and Ohio State's obviously one of those teams that want to prove people wrong to what happened with Oklahoma. So I think this Ohio State team is going to want this game real bad, and I don't think it will be close at any point in this game. I think Ohio State runs away with it, very similar to the Wisconsin game, 38-10.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Ohio State's the better team.
Oh, they are the better team in every facet.
They'll come into Nebraska and they'll finish the job.
Yeah,
no doubt. So let's talk about some past games this last Saturday. To be honest, we had some upsets too.
We did have some upsets. NC State, Iowa State,
Michigan,
and we can't leave
State.
out. We can't leave out that game. I had Michigan winning that game. Yeah. That was the only game I actually lost this past week. I actually changed my Florida game. I actually had LSU. I actually changed it to LSU. That's what I did right before the game started, and that's what happened. LSU won. The reason why Michigan lost, guys, is because Spate got hurt late in the second quarter. and their backup quarterback struggled throwing a few picks. But the Michigan State defense is legit, like I thought they were.
Yeah.
And I told you I didn't think Michigan was the best team in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think it's Penn State, and I think Ohio State's second.
Agreed. That's a...
Agreed. Yep. Fist bump.
I was about to say solid, but...
But they are very good on both sides of the ball. So they are the definition of the word solid. They are. But
so let's talk about a Big 12 upset.
Oh, Iowa State.
Iowa State and Oklahoma.
Couldn't believe it. That late touchdown. But let's get this straight. Oklahoma's pass defense is not good. Neither is the run defense. It's a little better, but pass defense looks bad. Really, it looks bad. They look confused, and they don't know how to play man coverage. That's what I'll say.
That might be an advantage for us.
Oh, for TCU, yeah. I mean, yeah, because you guys struggle with the passing game, but you might get something going against. You might get something going against their pass defense. Well, you guys play in Norman, so we'll see how the crowd level affects you guys. Now, what will be interesting to see is how much you guys improve and how much they improve, and maybe they will change their game plan against you guys. You know, considering, let's say Oklahoma doesn't lose from here on out, and you guys maybe lose once or none. You know, no more times or maybe once. Then you guys will be arguably competing for the Big 12. You guys in Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma, obviously. And you guys are playing at Oklahoma. Oklahoma may have a special game plan that they're saving for you guys. One thing I've never seen TCU a lot in this year are third and longs. And so we'll see how you guys do throughout the course of the season. And that's why I'm waiting to give my picks on who I think will win each conference 3 weeks from now, because I'll have a better idea.
And we're playing, like you said, we're playing at Norman.
Yeah, you're playing at
Oklahoma fans are ruthless.
Yeah,
I don't have them, and so do you.
They have the we do, don't we?
Yeah.
But he's a diehard Oklahoma fan, and I can't blame him. I'm like that with LSU,
and I'm like that with TCU.
Exactly. Okay, so one more thing before we go for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I think Miami is going to lose to Georgia Tech.
You think? Really?
I think Georgia Tech, Miami's beat up right now, and I think Georgia Tech. Okay, fun fact, guys: Georgia Tech is actually leading the nation in time of possession, and their offense is really good. They're triple option. I cannot tell you how many times that they consistently pick up 4 and 5 yards per play, and they hog the clock. And their defense isn't terrible, and so they keep their defense off the field. And the times their defense is on the field, I'll admit they get stops. And so I think this Miami team, unless they can stop this triple option, which I haven't seen anyone do to them yet, I don't think this Georgia Tech team, I think they're underrated. I don't think Miami sees it coming. Miami's got a few players out in this game. They're injured. I think they're banged up, and I think they're going to be banged up on the scoreboard too. I think they're going to lose by a touchdown. I think Georgia Tech will dominate. I really do.
You really do?
I really do, and I think NC State will make a run this year.
I mean, just like I said, some teams have some strengths and weaknesses. I mean, obviously Georgia Tech has a really good offense. But
that triple option offense is
in the long run, if you have too much offense, don't you think and in practice they usually work on that? Don't you think?
They work on the triple option.
Don't you think that you have to work on your defense as well?
You do have to work. Both sides of the ball are very important. I would argue defense is a little bit more important, but both sides of the ball are very important. You have to have a balanced team to be able to win it all. You look at Clemson last year; both of the sides of the ball finished in the top 15, so top 12. But I think this Georgia Tech team will pull off the upset. But I think one other team that we have to keep our eyes on in the ACC is NC State. I think this team will keep on rolling. I had them.
Forgot about that.
I had them as my dark horse contender to begin the season.
Did you?
They lost to South Carolina, but that's out of conference. That's outside of conference. This NC State team is still undefeated in conference. I think this team will make a run, and I think they'll give Clemson a scare. I do. I don't think this Clemson team. I think this Clemson team, by the way, tomorrow night, Friday night, they play against Syracuse. Syracuse is one of the better teams with passing in the ACC. I think the Clemson secondary will get tested in this game, and I think their quarterback, Kelly Bryant, is not 100% healthy. I think this game stays close throughout the game, and then Clemson kind of runs away with it. Very similar to Boston College. Except higher scoring. Like 42-21, or heck, 38-21. And it might be like 28-21 going into the fourth quarter type game. But Clemson, they'll dominate the fast of the game, and they'll have no problem pulling it out at the end.
I was just reading this.
Well, Miami avoid a letdown against Georgia Tech. I mean, coming off an emotional win against Florida State like they did, I could totally see it happening. So we'll see what happens there. But
I mean, if
And Georgia Tech's coming off a bye.
Are they? Yeah.
Yep.
So they have some time to improve on this really good Miami team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to be honest, you know how like when you're winning games, you usually like let go instead of driving forward. Like,
Right. You're overconfident.
Yeah, overconfident.
Yeah.
I think this might happen with Miami. I mean, coming off with that win against Florida State, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's gonna give them their money's worth.
Yeah, I really do too. I do too. Well, that pretty much sums it up this week, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Once again, I will kind of highlight my picks for this week, and that will be it for this week, and we'll see you guys next week. OU wins 28-21. Arizona beats UCLA at home 42-35. West Virginia wins on a last-second field goal 31-28 against Texas Tech. Auburn beats LSU 24-17 in dramatic fashion. That's going to be on CBS. I suggest you watch that game. Oregon at Stanford. Stanford pulls away, no problem, 42-28. TCU struggles at K-State, but sneaks away with the win, 27-21. Yeah. Navy at Memphis, high-scoring game, but that triple option game wins it, and they contain the Memphis offense enough, 38-35. Navy wins. USC at home against Utah. USC wins, no problem, 38-21. San Diego State, they'll come back in dramatic fashion, a great comeback. This will be a top 15 game this year, I think, against Boise State. 35-31, San Diego State wins. Watch for San Diego State team, or this San Diego State team could be a New Year's Six bowl game, maybe, possibly. And then Ohio State has no problem at Nebraska, even though it's a road game. Ohio State wins by a few touchdowns, 38-10, roughly. Maybe 4 touchdowns, yeah. So anyways, for now, I'm Connor Hibbett.
And I'm Gage.
And this has been Panther Nation, and we will see you next week.